You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Hello.
All right. Welcome back to Code Rad, everybody, to our dear viewers. Glad to have you back, and especially warm welcome to Jim, who's returning after a brief hiatus. He spent the summer in Hawaii.
I wish. Maybe at a Hawaiian restaurant, maybe.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. I'm glad to finally be back. Apologize to Jason that it took me a while to to make my way back to Code Rad, but I'm finally back, and it's nice to be back. It feels nice.
Good. Glad to have you back.
Well, you know what's going to happen now is that I'm back. The ratings are going.
No. I think we are going to surge up in the view totals, and
I hope so.
To commemorate your return, we have one of the most important episodes of Doctor Who. Super entertaining, super important, super philosophical, super talked about episode, Genesis of the Daleks.
Yes, indeed.
I believe this is our first Dalek episode we've discussed.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
I think this is our first 6-part storyline we've done.
Yes.
So for some reason, Genesis of the Daleks, it has never really been on my radar when I think about my favorite episodes. I think maybe when I was a kid first getting into Doctor Who, I think I might have missed an episode. You know, it's like if, your parents made you go somewhere, and, it was before we even had a VCR. So if you went somewhere, you missed that episode, and you really had no way of seeing it again, until they invented DVDs or, they repeated the episode. So I think for some reason, Genesis of the Daleks was just not really on my mind a lot. And when we were, I thought when we did another episode of Doctor Who on Code Rad, for some reason that popped into my head as a story we should do. And I'm very glad we did. It was, wow. I think in a lot of ways, it's kind of like the ultimate Doctor Who episode.
It's definitely a classic. Yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen it in a while, but watching it again was definitely a pleasure. This is a great episode. For those of you out there that may be not familiar with the classic series, some episodes we've reviewed have been, classics. Some have been like, okay. But I think this is one that every Doctor Who fan should see, whether you are a fan of the classic series or maybe some of you out there may be watching the new series. You really need to see this episode. It's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this episode really showcases just about everything that makes Doctor Who great. Although, like, one thing that struck me is that how did the people creating this episode think that this was going to be a good show for children? I don't know what children thought at the time, and it's not like it's just like a typical hide behind the couch kind of episode. I mean, Davros is scary, but so much of this episode is like very stern, scary men talking about stuff that I wonder how kids would have reacted. I mean, they probably had a longer attention span back in 1975, and maybe they could put up with the grown-ups talking for, long stretches of time, as long as you got evil mad scientists, you have a few monsters, and of course the Daleks. So
yeah, I mean, it starts out, I mean, they're literally in a war zone. You hear like, gunshots and things are blowing up, and pretty dark stuff for a kid's show, but it just kind of throws you, I think, because he's not sure where he is, and the Time Lord's that, or the one Time Lord asks him, "We need you to go to Skyro." He's okay. It's like, oh, by the way, you're already at Skyro. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But, it's very violent, a lot of violent imagery, with and sounds with the blowing up, and I think actually, yes, I think very episode 1, the Doctor steps on a landmine by mistake,
very tense scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to be very careful of how to, just carefully stick, this whatever they could find underneath the landmine and slowly lift his shoe off or his foot off. But
Yeah. They establish right away that this is very dangerous. Death could be anywhere. Death could be sudden and unexpected. But yeah, I mean, when I, watching episode 1 of this, I was thinking, as I said before, this is like the ultimate Doctor Who episode. It takes place in a quarry. There's like a lot of running around in corridors.
yes,
There's like escapes which fail, and so the characters just end up right back where they started, which is kind of a criticism. But I mean, the episode never lags. It's always entertaining.
yeah,
it works. It's done. The director, I believe his name was David Maloney, something Maloney. I believe he also directed The Deadly Assassin. He's able to, create these scenes, direct them with a amount of suspense, and keeping the viewer, interested, even when they do some of those Doctor Who kinds of things, running around in corridors, and an occasional thing that kind of seems like it was meant to, chew up some time.
yeah, and of course it's all the that rock quarry. I think we've seen that in quite a few episodes we've done. The same quarry.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but the fact that reviews of this episode frequently refer to the quarry by name. I think this was a stands by for Doctor Who. This is this is definitely an alien planet. So interesting thing about the genesis of the Daleks. Robert Holmes was the script editor.
Okay.
And I forget if I mentioned this before, but he's the most. He's got to be the most Lovecraftian writer Doctor Who had. He kind of looked like H.P. Lovecraft. In the middle was Philip Hinchcliffe, who was the producer. I think together, Hinchcliffe and Holmes created the best era of Doctor Who. I know that's, not just my opinion. There's other people who believe that. I think it's like the first 3 seasons of Tom Baker is the Holmes Hinchcliffe era. And all the way there on the right is Terry Nation, of course, a creator of the Daleks. And from what I understand is Terry Nation turned in a script for Genesis of the Daleks, and Robert Holmes, being one of the most creative guys to ever work on Doctor Who, I would say maybe even on television in general, he wasn't like a huge fan of the Daleks returning all the time. And I guess he and Hinchcliffe said to Terry Nation, come up with something a little bit better than just Daleks chasing the characters around, chasing Doctor and his companion around. And so Terry Nation went back and came back with like an all-time great script that as we've said, people still talk about Genesis of the Daleks today. For one of the most popular villains of all time, Genesis of the Daleks might be the best remembered Dalek episode.
Yeah, definitely a classic. My friend, I first got on Doctor Who back when I was in high school in 1989. Dating myself here. My one friend Jeff was a super Anglophile, and he was the reason. He was the one that got me into Doctor Who. And I remember he lent me a cassette tape of it was a audio drama of Genesis of the Daleks. So I heard it before I actually saw it. So yeah. But he had he just had tons of Doctor Who books and Doctor Who cassettes and CDs But not only did he get me into Doctor Who, but he also got me into Blake 7, another great English sci-fi series.
And also created by Terry Nation, right?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. But let's see. I was going to say, if I could for a minute. So today is August the 21st. Yes. Today is a very special day in the history of Doctor Who. Do you know why?
Oh, August 21st. No, I don't know.
I will show you if I can. Let me bring these in. Let's see. Um, I guess now if I'm going to bring my slides in.
Oh, I probably have to do it.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. Okay,
Let
that's all
me.
right. That's all right.
There we go. Oh, now I don't know why it brought up mine. Here, let me remove mine and
Okay.
here. Let's try it like that, and then go.
Okay.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Let's
Very
see.
good.
There we
Okay. We know this picture, but so on August 21st in 1972.
go.
So some groovy letter numbers there.
Yeah.
So Doctor Who had been shown around the world, Canada and Hong Kong, and Cyprus and the Middle East. But 1972 was the year it finally debuted in America,
Oh, wow.
and it wasn't shown all over America. One city got it first, and can you guess which city that was?
Philadelphia.
You are absolutely correct. Yes,
All
Philly
right.
was the first U.S. city to air Doctor Who back in 1972.
I believe I did hear that somewhere. Yeah.
And special thanks to our resident TV expert Ed Lord.
Yeah.
This is a very special day. This day holds a lot of significance for Doctor Who fans in the States. So at first, it was broadcast on an independent station, PHL 17.
Mm.
And was shown at 7:30 on a Monday night, I believe. And the
Cool.
first episode
Yeah.
that was shown
7 or
was
7:30. Perfect time to watch Doctor Who.
exactly, yes. The first episode that aired was Doctor Who and the Silurians,
Cool.
episode 1. Let's see here. So there's another shot from. See, I thought it was a very interesting tidbit. So yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
quite
Very important anniversary.
it didn't quite air nationwide right away. It would take a while. But yeah, the beginning was in 1972 in the summer in Philadelphia. So just a little side note. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's a clipping from the Inquirer.
Cool.
7:30, 17. So premiere, a BBC science fiction series in which the chief character gets involved with sea devils and other monsters via a time machine and a roadster. It's equipped with a number of gadgets. Jan Pertwee stars. I love that Jan Pertwee. He's my favorite Doctor of all.
Oh, yeah. They even got his name wrong under his picture.
Jan
Wow.
Pertwee.
Yeah.
Jan Pertwee. So sorry, that's a shame. But probably not the way he wanted to have his American introduction. But
Right.
yeah. So I got that from a very cool website called Broad dwcast.org,
Okay.
and they show you just every country that ever aired Doctor Who, what stories were shown in that particular country and what year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we actually got it rather late because so many other countries would air the show since the 60s, but we didn't get it till really fairly late compared to other countries.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine Commonwealth countries that had a
Yes,
tighter bond to England, like Canada and Australia, they probably
exactly.
they had the direct pipeline of BBC shows and stuff.
Yeah, Canada aired a lot earlier than we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Not surprising.
They did try several times to market in the States. I think finally 17 said, "Oh, we'll buy it." Didn't last very long the first run, but it's kind of cool that Philly was the first city ever
Yeah.
in America to have Doctor Who. And just a side note here that 17 was very important to me because it also aired 2 other shows that become very important in my life later on. And one of the shows was ta-da!
Cool.
I used to
Ultraman.
watch. Yep. And the other show was Speed Racer,
Yeah.
which would become very important in my life later. Both those shows were kind of influenced me to study Japanese. So those shows were a big reason why I got first started studying Japanese. So yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think Ultraman and Speed Racer were on WOR up by me in North
Okay.
Jersey,
Sounds like in
and
Secaucus.
and that is where I first watched Doctor Who as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was like, first it appeared on commercial television in America, but then eventually the BBC made a policy of only allowing public
Yes.
TV stations to show it, and eventually that changed when it showed up on the Sci-Fi Channel, like in the '90s. But unless a channel was like grandfathered in, yeah, the BBC came up with a policy of only allowing non-commercial stations to show Doctor Who.
Yeah, it took I think even the WO episodes I think had a had a narration by Howard De Silva, I think.
Sounds familiar.
He would narrate. It's like, last we saw the Doctor, he was on planet,
Yeah.
I don't know, Skyro or wherever, and just yeah, he did the I guess to bring the viewers up to speed. Um let's see. And then I think I think we saw later on NJN.
Oh yeah, that was huge, and they were very good at getting new episodes.
They were, yeah, they were.
WLIW out of Long Island was showing the Peter Davison episodes when I first got really, really into Doctor Who. And so then when, after Caves of Androzani, they cycled back to Robot with Tom Baker. I was like, no.
Oh, okay.
Even though it was great, that's when I did see most of my Tom Baker episodes. I really wanted to keep moving forward.
Right.
And it was NJN that eventually got Colin Baker. I believe it was the first station in America to get those new episodes.
They were, yeah. I remember back then they were very instrumental in making Doctor Who, I think, really popular in the Northeast. I think I have like an NJN pin here somewhere.
Cool.
One of my former jobs, I found one in a desk drawer, and I asked, like, "Is this yours?" No, is this yours? No. It's like, okay, well, so yeah.
Yeah. Back in the 80s, it would be a big deal even if NJN got like William Hartnell or Patrick Troughton or John Pertwee, because those were not widely seen.
No, not at
So
all. No, they
that would be
never.
a big deal. And when they would do their pledge drives, they that when they were trying to get you to send in money for a handbag or whatever, or a tote bag, that they
Right.
mentioned, we're trying to get William Hartnell episodes. Might sound kind of silly because they were 20 years old at that point, those episodes, but we hadn't seen them, and we as we all know, Doctor Who fandom is quite rabid. The idea of seeing any kind of Doctor Who that you hadn't seen before was just very exciting. And so
Yeah, I mean, I know they tried to sell Doctor Who back in the 60s and 70s to CBS and NBC and ABC, and they kept on going, nope, nope, nope. So we could have seen them, but
yeah.
But better late than never, as they say. Yeah, we finally got to see them, and I think in the '80s. It took a while, but we finally got there. Let's see. There were a few other slides I had, not many more, but
Okay.
there's a few besides Speed Racer. So yeah, definitely know that picture.
Yeah, that's the most famous scene from Genesis of the Daleks.
Do I have the right?
Yeah.
Definitely very, very deep philosophical, Yeah, the Daleks are evil, but they're still, they're still living things. So it's just, do we kill them or not? Let's see. So, but I was going to say, this is the first appearance of Davros, and the actor that played him in this episode, Michael Wisher, he actually appeared in several episodes of Doctor Who. This is him,
Oh,
him
yeah.
in Masters of Death. He would play the newscaster reporting about Mars Probe 7. And you can see there's the Brigadier in the background. He played a toy executive from Terror of the Autons.
That seems familiar. Yeah, I think I remember that.
And then he was also Kalik from Carnival of Monsters.
Chris. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Terror of the Autons and Carnival of Monsters, 2 episodes we've watched.
Yeah.
We've talked about on this show.
Great classics. But it's a shame because this was the only episode that he did as Davros, and I thought he was just so good. He was just so unhinged.
Yeah.
He could be.
Yeah, for sure. He was great. And one thing that I really took away from his performance here, let me show my picture.
Yeah, sure. Again, that's all the slides I got. Yeah.
I'll show my picture of Davros. And as great as Davros is, this guy, I forget the actor's name, but Niter is the
Yeah, Niter,
character's name.
yes.
He is just, the Hall of Fame weasels. This
Yes.
guy must have gotten a lot of work. I mean, he's just one of the most evil, creepiest guys. He's just perfect for
He
this
is.
guy playing this sci-fi kind of soldier, an obvious knockoff of something that happened in the 1940s on Earth, which I'm not going to say because I think YouTube will throttle your views if you say the name of these.
No.
This army guy. These army guys that invaded or had a battle with England. But yeah, how amazing was he? A super great villain. And the thing about Davros that really blew me away is the last several times I've seen Davros has been, the Russell T. Davies era. And everything about Russell T. Davies was over the top. And I enjoy some over the top stuff, but everything was over the top in the RTD era. And I'm just amazed that the first appearance of Davros is so quiet. It's just I think it's like Sarah Jane kind of peeking in a window of a ruin. And Davros is just so, quiet and diabolical. I found that so refreshing. I thought that was cool. And later on in the storyline, he does start screaming and sounding like a Dalek. But that makes it all the more dramatic when he's calmer and just seems calm and rational and not always screaming and acting like a total maniac. So that was another aspect of this episode really impressed me. That was a kind of that sort of calm villain who you did not see. I mean, I'm not thinking of anyone because you think about RTD's version of the Master. He was quite over the top. Yeah, everything was over the top, and so it's quite refreshing to see. He was menacing. Great villain. Great for good on Terry Nation. Even though Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe had to tell him go back and rewrite that. Yeah, he just delivered all-time great, and took one of the most popular villains and expanded it. And I mean, it's a question is some people complain that Davros has returned, that he should have had the perfect ending. He's betrayed by his own creation. They kill him.
Yes.
But then, what should you just leave it at that? Or because he's so popular, do you bring him back repeatedly? I mean, obviously we know what the BBC and the other showrunners decided to do, but it is a perfect ending. It's Davros is so tricky and devious, and so he ends up tricked, or kind of, I don't know if he's tricked, but he's hoisted on his own petard by his own creation, and it's a perfect ending.
It really is. Yeah, just it was his choice not to give them the conscience, and then he's have pity. It's pity, I have no sense of the words. So it's and he knows he's screwed, and also you programmed us for survival.
Yes.
So we're doing it. So eventually, yeah, they actually, if you could do me a small favor, that picture you had,
can
you bring it up one more time? There was two things I was going to point out.
No,
it was the clams.
So before we do that, I'm going to say, on top of all the great things about this episode we've discussed, it also has a killer clam.
Yes, I mean, that was great.
Some people complain about that. That is a highlight of the. I can't get enough of killer clams. I saw a movie. I think it's a movie called The Wake of the Red Witch or something. Saw it as a kid. The idea of getting your leg stuck in a giant killer clam is one of those things, kind of like quicksand. As a little kid, I thought, if you go to the beach, you're like, I got to look out for these giant clams. I don't want to get grabbed by one. That was I thought that was going to be a major problem in life. So yeah, kudos to Davros for creating killer clams that maybe even scarier than Daleks. And is this the picture you wanted?
Yeah, I was going to point out that so I know that when Davros returns, that mask that Michael Wisher's wearing they had the mask, but the actor that got to take Michael Richards' place, the mask barely didn't really fit him.
Oh, really?
Which, yeah, and also Nider's collar, that emblem, we know what it's reference, to, but I think Terry Nation wanted to use something more of like a cross for the emblem, and BBC said no. So
Right.
the eyeball and the lightning bolt, I think, pretty much you can tell who it's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, that's a super cool insignia. I mean, I
Yeah,
assume they created it for this episode, and that's
yeah,
not something you see associated with the Daleks very much. But yeah, that's cool. The 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 military people, they had cool costumes. I thought one thing this episode kind of reminded me of Dawn of the Dead, which is also about like Armageddon, a bunch of
okay,
military
yeah,
people and scientist people in a bunker. And I think that is like just a great concept, that like you're at the end of the world, you're trying to figure out some way to survive, and you're looking to scientists, but your scientists turn out to be, completely crazy, evil, whatever. And, I mean, yeah, what a great setup for a end of the world story.
yeah. No,
And
this was. I enjoyed watching this very much. Very
And like
much.
as you just mentioned, the idea is Davros, in an attempt to win this war, which and Doctor Who special effects, they are what they are.
Yeah,
The domed cities were not, amazing looking or anything. But I gotta
no,
say, it was a pretty chilling moment when I believe the Thals destroy the Khaled dome, and they have these images on the screen of the Khaled city in flames. That was pretty good, even though it was obviously not realistic. It
yeah,
was
no,
it was pretty unsettling, I think, and plus because of course, as a viewer, you know what's coming. That even though the Thals are very happy at the moment, it's not going to turn out well for them.
no,
Yeah,
no, not at all. No, yeah, no special effects. They do what they could, but the writing and acting is so good that
yeah,
story is king, and I think that this whole series is a really great example of that's so it's so true. They didn't have special effects, but they did what they could, and everything was is written so beautifully that they just doesn't really matter. I mean, you
yeah.
can forgive it for not having the best special effects. So yeah,
Yeah, and one last thing I'd like to point out is that I love the ending, and it's like only now, like looking it up on Wikipedia, do I realize that this was like the last storyline of the season, and
yes,
it's going to be so like that last moment is the last moment with the Doctor and his companions. Viewers were going to have for several months, and I love the ending because it the scene with the two wires is more famous, where Tom Baker is waxing philosophical about the right to commit genocide. But I love the ending when they're, the Doctor and his companions are tumbling through time and space, and again, he's making a bit of another little bit of a philosophical statement as they're tumbling through time. It's I really love the ending of that. I thought it was great.
oh yes, I think you said something about
Some good
with
with
with with evil, the presence of evil. There's potential also for great good to rise from that evil. Something along those lines.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
time ring.
with the time ring. I mean, yeah, I have to admit, I got a little bit choked up. I thought that was a great moment, seeing just the way that was executed, Tom Baker's narration, and I lied. I have one more thing. You mentioned before, Davros, in order to win this war, he was going to mutate his own people into survival machines with aggression and no conscience. So
Yep.
basically, he was turning the Khaled race into cats. I'm kidding. I love kitties, even though they do kind of fit that description somewhat.
Bleh.
Uh,
I
so
love kitties too, but
uh,
sometimes, yeah, they. I know what you mean. Yeah.
killing machines with no conscience whatsoever. Uh, So I mean, yeah, that's all I've got for Genesis of the Daleks. Great episode. Yeah, any Doctor Who fan should watch it. Any sci-fi fan.
Yeah, definitely do yourself a favor and watch this episode. It's if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's definitely one of the great classics of Doctor Who, and um, when the classic series thing was in its peak with Tom Baker.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Um,
You looking at
yeah,
the episode list of Tom Baker's first season.
yeah,
Wow.
Robot and Ark in Space,
Ark in Space, another all-time classic.
Giant Bugs. Yeah, that was and then this was part of the first season as well. So, yeah, no, definitely, highly recommend. I think it's great they're uploading all these episodes on YouTube.
It
So,
is, yeah, it is
yeah,
amazing to have such easy access to these episodes, even though
yes,
I've got a dozen or so DVDs. It is amazing to have such easy access to this stuff when being a geek used to be so much harder, so much challenging.
yes.
As I mentioned, if you missed an episode back in the 80s, who knows when you would have a chance to see it. I did not even have a VCR for part of that time.
I don't think we did either. No, not till later. But yeah. If you missed it, then you were kind of just like, wah, wah.
And when they did start releasing the episodes on VHS, you think about
Mhm.
$20 in 1980s money or 1990s money.
Yeah,
Yeah, quite an investment.
it
Not
was.
something you
Yeah,
could do every week. Pick up a Doctor Who VHS. That was something special.
once in a while purchase. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Jim. Great to have you back. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Like, nice
And
to be back. Thank you.
all right. And so, my viewers, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share any thoughts you have about Genesis of the Daleks and stuff about my books, Interplanet and Tales of Conspiracy and Madness. The links will be below. Thanks, everybody. We're out.
Take care, everybody.